This is the ERP Advisor.
The ERP Advisor's overview of Salesforce AppExchange. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This summer, ERP Advisors Group spotlighted the most prominent vendors in the ERP software market, and we are continuing on with this series today. We'll be discussing Salesforce AppExchange, their offerings, and providing key insights into our experiences with these vendors. Shawn Windle is my guest today. Welcome, Shawn.
Thank you, as always.
Thanks for joining me. Yeah, we have a new setup. It's kind of fun, right?
I know, it's cool. We've come a long way from the conference phone of,
That's
is this
exactly
thing on?
right.
Is this on?
Exactly right. I know. I love it. So, well, few truly know about the ERP offerings of or within the Salesforce.com app, right? And I've always known Salesforce simply as a CRM application, right? But what should we know about the Salesforce AppExchange, and what are the major ERP offerings on this platform?
Perfect.
Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, it's a good question. And fortunately, we were able to attend the Salesforce Dreamforce conference in San Francisco, which was super cool. I hadn't been back to the city in a long time.
Right.
So that was really great. I went to school out there. My dad lives in San Francisco, and I went to like a place called Fort Funston. Here's a little fun fact.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, on the west side of San Francisco, you know, where the coast is like cliffs. Like it's like these huge cliffs, and there was like a park that my dad and I used to go to when I was just a kid. So I got to stop by and check that out. So it was really just great to be in San Francisco for sure. I love that city. A little different. Things are definitely a little different now, but it was good, and the conference was great.
Yeah.
So Salesforce really put on, a really good, very informative conference. Plus they had the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which was pretty cool.
Fun, right? And it's a big conference, right?
I mean,
it takes over that city, right?
Tons and tons of people usually, but it was a little smaller than kind of the pre-COVID. So it was a little bit of an experiment, frankly. I'm getting way off topic now, but it makes it kind of fun. Yeah. But it was good to have everybody, everybody was safe. There was tons of hand sanitizers, and like you could tell people were cognizant of kind of the new world that we're in.
Right.
But there was a lot of interaction, a lot of communication. I met a ton of great people, spent a good time with some of the Salesforce team, which was very helpful. Good. But it really was interesting that I saw this kind of not really a trend, but I was able to observe these ERP applications that are built on the Salesforce platform, they used to be called Force.com, that's now referred to as Lightning. As I look to Rebecca, that's what we realized, right? Good. And so you think about these big enterprise applications, whether it's SAP or Oracle or Salesforce, that you basically have to build the tools in order to build the apps. Okay. And so all of those tools, they've basically created this layer of application development framework, you could think about it that way, from tools and workflow, user interface creation, custom objects, or even just objects in the database layer with business logic. So there's all this stuff, right, that that apps people, care about to then build applications.
From there.
That's right. And so there's three vendors we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
That really stood out to me at the conference: FinancialForce, Rootstock, and Accounting Seed. Okay. That are basically ERP, enterprise resource planning applications, but just built on the same platform that Salesforce's Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, those apps are built on. It's the same platform. So there's benefits to being in the same platform for sure. And there's a lot more to it. But does that make sense, kind of where these guys fit in?
Yep, very high level. Well, let's focus now on FinancialForce. You mentioned
Let's
that.
do it.
So in more detail, what does FinancialForce, what do they offer their clients?
Yeah. So FinancialForce is probably the bigger of the ERP solutions. This is where I look to the camera and tell people to correct us. Right. Where's the camera? Please correct us if that's not quite right. But in our own research, when we look at, when these firms were founded, the amount of capital that they've received, the backing, the number of employees, number of customers, and all that stuff, it looks like FinancialForce really does sort of end up near kind of the top of that list of the three.
Is it the biggest of the three?
Yes.
It is.
That's right. So it's been in business since about 2009, headquartered in San Francisco. And the interesting thing with FinancialForce was there were multiple investors, of course, but one of the investors was Salesforce Ventures. So Salesforce, as you can imagine, has done very, very well, right? They're not just in the enterprise software industry of selling apps. They sell a framework. They sell a development kit called Force.com. They also are in the real estate business. So if you're in San Francisco, there's a new tower. It's been there for a bit.
Right.
It's the Salesforce
I've
Tower. Right? Actually, here in Denver, they have their logo up on a building I started working in 1996. But that might just be a logo. I'm not saying they own that building.
Right.
But the one in San Francisco, as I understand it, so they're in the real estate business. Well, they're also in sort of the venture capital or private equity business too. And so they've set aside money to invest in different solutions. So Salesforce Ventures, along with another vendor, Unit 4. Who we've talked about a lot, right? This summer, an ERP vendor came together with other investors in 2009 to found FinancialForce.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you had some ERP people, you had some Salesforce people came together to start the business. And so it's been around for a while. It's not that long, is it? Does that mean we're really old?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It might.
Yeah,
yes.
13 years, we're old. Anyway, but it's really grown. It's about 750 employees, and they've got, over 1,000 customers, really even globally, I believe. And so, they've really, they've worked through a lot of the startup, of course, kind of issues and code, and we've reviewed them over the years. And they're in a really good position in the marketplace right now. And they've kind of honed in on a couple of industries. We can talk about that too. But that's a little bit on FinancialForce.
Yeah. So now, okay, so let me ask you this. I didn't know that Unit 4 came together with Salesforce. Yeah. So, but it's associated with, FinancialForce is associated with Salesforce, or are they also associated with Unit 4? Because I've never seen Unit 4 and FinancialForce in the same sentence.
Right.
So how does that work out?
Well, you have to think about it like, so how do you think about this? That's a good question.
Like, was Unit 4 like the quiet money behind it? Or?
As was Salesforce Ventures.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Okay. These are big companies, Unit 4, Salesforce. And like I said, they're in the enterprise application space, but they also have money that they invest in early stage technologies. Rebecca covers a lot of the acquisitions in the ERP Minute, which was a great ERP Minute this week, by the way.
Well done.
I thought it was really good. But, these organizations go out and they buy companies. Well, who's buying them? Who's doing the due diligence? Who's deciding it fits in the product roadmap? That's their venture kind of people at Salesforce and at Unit 4.
Okay.
So basically, there was some, I don't know the details, but I'm sure there was a super cool story where Unit 4 was like,
how they came together to do that, right?
We should maybe do something around, a pure SaaS platform. And Salesforce was like, we should do ERP, but, there's other ERP companies, there might be a little too close of an overlap for Salesforce. I am purely speculating on this.
Right,
and again, open to any corrections. But it made sense where Salesforce was like, we want to get into this market and try it out. Unit 4, we want to get into the SaaS-based ERP market, integrate with Salesforce. Let's throw some money together. Let's hire some smart people and let's put together a new product. And that's basically where FinancialForce was founded from. But like I said, they have over 500 employees now. I got to attend an event with them. At Fogo de Chao. I just love saying Fogo de Chao.
Right.
But I got to do a pretty long demo just to see the application. It's a nice user interface. It's all again baked into the Salesforce platform. So it's a good product.
Well, we can identify each FinancialForce Rootstock and what is it, Accounting Seed. But let's just quickly, we'll focus on each one individually. So with FinancialForce, what industry or industries tend to fit best with FinancialForce?
Yeah, and I think as we're learning the product for sure, it's interesting because I think that is a change from the last time we really dived into it. It's really around professional service automation.
Okay.
So some of the other vendors we've covered in that space are like Dell Tech, but folks that just focus on professional services.
Okay.
So it's definitely optimized for things like, time and billings for sure, expense management, but also resource management, resource allocation, and integration on the financial side. So it has a financials app, but it could also be sort of a best of breed that a pro service department uses that then integrates back to their accounting system that might be separate.
Okay.
That's really their focus.
Does FinancialForce, do they tend to win over other competitors based on that industry or just what their offerings are?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Their differentiator is definitely very industry specific. So some of the other applications that are maybe a little more broad, right, that focus on other industries, these guys are just in there in professional services. And it is sort of a... the fit really comes down to it's a Salesforce customer.
Oh, okay.
And they have invested in the Salesforce platform. And they may even be using Salesforce business intelligence and reporting from, say, from the Tableau stuff that Salesforce bought. And the integration framework that the customer's already committed to is MuleSoft, which is also Salesforce.
Okay.
And so now they need professional services. It's kind of a no-brainer, right? There's other projects, tools on the AppExchange. TaskRay's one that a lot of folks know about. That's a great product. We've used that before too. But from a pure professional service automation, the requirements of a professional services firm like ours, that solution meets all of our requirements out of the box.
Okay.
Not just projects or task management, but all the stuff that I mentioned earlier. So usually when a customer is on that platform, they're on the Force.com, the Lightning platform, their resources love it, and they want to stay on that platform. That's where you see a FinancialForce come into play. But you could also see, like we're talking to them about one of our clients right now, that's a projects-based business that really does want kind of that really nice user interface, flow, kind of look and feel that's sort of a modern feel. And that's FinancialForce.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this because it's quite obvious. I do not have the technical expertise. But okay, so if you are running on Salesforce, is FinancialForce an add-on? Is it a customization? Or can you, if you're not on Salesforce, can you get FinancialForce and have that app all on its own?
Yes.
Okay.
The answer is
to all
yes
of it.
to everything
Okay.
you just said.
Okay.
So here's the deal. So let's say we have Salesforce, and a lot of times, sales organizations, and this is really applicable for all the other apps we're going to talk about. So that's why it's good we're talking about this up front.
Okay.
So the Salesforce of an organization says, we love Salesforce. And, it can get religious. Like, you don't want to mess with Salesforce with a sales team. I was so embarrassed the other day. I couldn't believe I did this, and I apologized to him. And I'm apologizing publicly. We were on a call with a client that's a global client and very diverse business. I'm not going to say anything specific because I'm still embarrassed.
Right. Oh,
but there was a guy on the call from more of a technical department within the company, and he was talking about the need for a certain platform. And it wasn't Salesforce, but he was more like in a technical operations, and he was like, we need to go with this, and this is why, and it makes sense, and this is the heart of the business, and. But I had already talked to the sales team, and they're like, we don't care what ERP, but we're going to be on Salesforce.
Oh,
and
interesting.
we have the expertise in-house on Salesforce, and we're building out our sales process on Salesforce, and we're going to use Salesforce.
We're staying with Salesforce.
No problem. Makes total sense. Totally fine, right? It's a great platform for that. But this guy in another part of the business was like, well, it would be better if everybody was on the exact same platform. Not Salesforce. It was a different platform. And we talked about it and kind of went through it. And the problem was there were quite a few people on this call. And, there's a reason why I had to start my business, because I would sometimes say things that later I'd be like, foot in mouth.
Oh, no.
And then I had a partner over me. He's like, you should have said
At
that,
someone
Shawn.
else's expense.
It's somebody
Oh,
else's
boy.
expense. That's
Yikes.
my expense.
Yep.
But anyway, we kind of kept going on. And I ultimately said to him, like, look, if you like a job, don't push on Salesforce anymore. Like, just knock it off, right? And I mean, we had a lot of people on the call, and they kept pushing. We needed a lot more stuff to do. So anyway, so I apologized after that. I went too far. I didn't choose the right words.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that's what happens
The
sometimes.
Salesforce loyalty, right?
Salesforce loyalty
The buy-in.
versus the other team's loyalty, or IT's loyalty, or the operations loyalty. And you get these conversations where you're like, this is like a religious topic, guys. Like, knock it off. We got to focus on what's best for the organization here and move on. And sometimes, especially on the Salesforce side, you're going to use Salesforce, or you won't be able to hire certain salespeople. And there's a whole thing on that. You know, I'm sure we have a gentleman who keeps us honest in the Microsoft channel, and I hope he gives Rebecca McFadden. No, Rebecca here, our Rebecca, you know, feedback on what Microsoft is saying and what's really going on. And we need that feedback for sure, but it's usually Salesforce where it's that religious. So anyway, long story short, I got into way too much detail, called Rebecca something different. The bottom line is this, that because of that not just loyalty, but also the expertise in the framework, an organization can say, I don't want to have a different framework that I have to support.
That's very interesting, right?
And that's where I really want to look at a FinancialForce or some of these other apps.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Rootstock a little bit. What are their offerings, and what do they offer their clients?
So Rootstock is different than FinancialForce, although there's similarities.
Okay.
Still built on the Lightning platform.
Okay.
So we're leveraging all the common objects that your Salesforce instance is. And we have logic built around manufacturing.
Okay.
So it's a completely different industry approach, or different industry focus, which is super important. And so as Rebecca McCabe, by the way,
That's right.
sorry, there was a great lady I used to work for. I see every once in a while. I get the last names confused. Sorry, Rebecca. Good. Anyway, as Rebecca has put together for me, when I look at sort of the background with Rootstock, it's in that sort of early stage as well, building out the market with, revenue of maybe under 10 million, but definitely scaling its business, over 100 employees, over 100 customers. And so it's really expanding, and it's getting a name for itself again in sort of this, Lightning platform where the organization has made the commitment to this platform, and we're a manufacturer, right? You wouldn't think manufacturing and Salesforce, what are you talking about? Well, that's what Rootstock has built. And they've got a lot of industry experts. We sat down with some of them at Dreamforce, and it was great to get their feedback on kind of their product development, their roadmap. The kinds of problems they're solving for a manufacturer are really quite complex.
Because there's a lot of offerings out there for manufacturing companies. So
And not only a lot, but a lot of offerings that have been around for a long time, as we covered this summer.
That's
Some
right.
of these are 40, 50 years old solutions.
that's right.
But again, here's the value. You're in the one platform. So if you think about an organization that goes with a best of breed approach, as we call it, where you have a CRM solution from one vendor, an ERP, financials from another vendor, manufacturing from another, and then purchasing from another, right? Those are 4 different applications. You have to figure out how to administer those solutions. You have to figure out how to do security. You have to figure out certainly how data flows between them. But really, I need to create a report. Okay, well, there's 4 different reporting tools, right? Or I need to do something even simpler. Like I just need to match, between purchasing and manufacturing. So manufacturing does the receiving, purchasing has the PO, and accounting has the actual AP transaction. I just want to see where this transaction at. It's in 3 different solutions.
Oh boy.
Whereas if it's in one, and it's in one platform, right, with different apps, there's still some integration that has to happen between a Lightning solutions basically, but it's a lot easier. You go to one place. That's what the big guys, the SAPs and the Oracles offer is, hey, we do everything. It's in one place. You don't have to worry about all this third-party stuff.
The ease of functionality.
Ease of support and all that. Yeah. So I think Rootstock is an option for a manufacturer that, again, is looking for that single platform with Lightning for sure. And that's good.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think if there's more to cover for Rootstock. We can circle back, but let's talk a little bit about Accounting Seed. What are their offerings, and what industries do they tend to be best for?
Yep. So from what we've gathered, Accounting Seed is very focused on accounting. Right. And so a really nice alternative for sure for QuickBooks, where a customer needs more depth of accounting functionality just in the accounting area. And that's on purpose, right? Again, when we talk to them, their focus is really sort of on being the accounting software solution, if you will, in the Salesforce platform.
Okay.
So whereas the other two have industry-specific kind of focuses, these guys are a little more horizontal, meaning accounting, which transcends lots of different businesses.
Right.
But sometimes you need that integrated accounting and deep inventory and warehouse management for a distributor, or accounting and projects for a professional services firm and that. So Accounting Seed has said, no, we're just going to focus on the accounting. You know, they have a pretty good customer base, about 1,000 customers. They've been in business for a while. They've got really good backing. I think we're looking at maybe about 2008 when the gentleman, Tony Zork, founded that organization. And a lot of users, too, that are using the platform. So it's a viable solution out there, especially for those, like we do this presentation on what to do when you outgrow QuickBooks.
Right.
You know, I think Accounting Seed is an option there that gets you in the cloud. It gets you on the Force.com platform or Lightning platform, and it gets sort of that next level of accounting functionality that QuickBooks doesn't even portray to provide with multi-company, multi-country, intercompany consolidations, multi-currency kind of stuff. Accounting Seed is focused on those kinds of issues.
Is there a natural progression from something you're on to go to Accounting Seed?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, it really is that you've outgrown QuickBooks.
Okay.
And you're looking for that next level of financial solution. Like I said, maybe you're handling, your business is, I ran into a lot of folks even at Cloud World, at the Oracle Cloud World just this week, where they're using just financials, right? And then they don't have inventory. They don't have projects or whatever. They just need strong financials. This option, Accounting Seed, is for them, right?
Okay.
Coming up from a QuickBooks, maybe a Xero or maybe a Peachtree, which is called Sage 50 now, where like, I'm kind of done, like us, like we're on QuickBooks Online. We only use it for invoicing and we use it for financial reporting. We do a little bit of time tracking there for our admin folks, but that's it. Right. Now, if we wanted something that like we, bought a business in Europe and we needed to do intercompany transactions, I'd be a great option for that because that's all we need. Would NetSuite or Intact or even FinancialForce be able to do that stuff? Sure, for sure. But it's a nice gradient step up from QuickBooks.
Okay. Well, let me ask you about partner ecosystems. Do they each have their own individual partner ecosystem, or is there just one overall partner ecosystem? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you would wish that there was something like, hey, you just go one-stop shop and you ask them and they can do that. But no. As usual.
That'd be too easy.
It would be too easy.
Yeah.
And in ERP space, it's like, it's easy. We don't do it. It's like there's a difficult button. There's no easy button in ERP. We try to be the easy guys and gals. But anyway, each solution is pretty technical. And there's intricacies on how the solutions are built, how they're configured, how they're customized, how they're reporting, how the analytics, blah, blah, blah.
And on and on and on.
On and on and on. So you really do need to sort of look at, like we do in our selections, is we figure out which product is the right fit from a feature functionality, usability, technology perspective. Then we'll dive into the implementation partners to kind of decide who's the best one. And the good news is all three of these, I even believe Accounting Seed probably does their own implementations, I believe. They may have some partners. I don't know, Rebecca, did we come across that?
Yeah, so they do have some connected apps and other different partners, but they're encouraged to also implement the
from them.
software on their own.
Exactly. Yep. Thank you. Rebecca's behind. We can't turn the camera or they'll screw the whole setting up. But and Will's back there too. We'll talk about him later. Anyway, Erica. Anyway,
we have to thread him in every
we do.
episode.
He's so great.
I love it.
Will is.
He's not embarrassed at all.
At all. We're contemplating. If anybody's listening to this and they can send in some feedback, we're contemplating doing an ERP Advisors from an airplane, doing a parachute exercise.
Oh,
so
Will
is not quite a professional yet, but close. Anyway,
yes, an ERP minute
minute
in the air.
With
that
Will,
would be amazing.
Rebecca,
you,
me,
okay,
and
not me.
Not you. We'll have Juliet on Zoom.
That's right.
I don't know. That might be kind of cool. We'll see.
Yes.
Anyway,
oh my gosh.
But
start planning now.
Already done. Just got to talk Erica into that one. I have lots of life insurance.
Yes.
Anyway, but we don't have insurance on Will, so maybe we can't do that.
Workman's comp would
Workman's
be
comp.
very expensive.
Oh, God, that's right. If the Department of Labor is listening, please,
right.
we're not going to do this. Long story short, you really do need to be aware of which implementation partners have the experience in your industry, understand your business, blah, 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 the normal stuff. It is
knowing
important.
your needs,
Yes,
all that, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Have referenceable customers
Yep.
and all that. You got it.
Yes. So, okay, you did talk about the loyalty for Salesforce. Do you find that most people that start out on these apps, that they tend to stay with them? Or is there longevity there?
Mm-hmm.
Are they, can people grow with them, and do they grow with companies? Or, I don't know. Does that make sense what I'm
Perfect sense.
thinking in my brain?
Yes. Your brain's always spot on. That's why we do these. I love it. These are great questions.
Good.
Here's the thing. It's all three of these solutions, right? They're kind of different tiers of solutions. Mm-hmm. We talk about that. First tier being the big guys. Tier 2 being sort of the middle market kind of solutions. Tier 3 being sort of accounting plus one other area in the business. And then Tier 4 being basically accounting, right? And if you look at Accounting Seed, we would tend to put them kind of going from a Tier 4 to a Tier 3, where an organization wants really strong accounting. But their capability is really strong with accounting. They're very focused on accounting. So if an organization were to implement Accounting Seed, and then they really need, I see a distributor probably would already go towards a distribution-specific ERP. I'm trying to think about the selection scenario. They may be getting bigger, and they need a bigger GL, right? They might need like a truly, we have 40 locations throughout the world, might have outgrown the Accounting Seed by then anyway. But the key part is that you don't have to implement a ginormous Tier 1 or even Tier 2 financial system to get the benefits that I think that Accounting Seed can bring. Okay. So the chances are, if an organization is scaling, they may need to look at something, but they really have to scale on that particular solution. Now, Rootstock and FinancialForce are so industry specific, right? And they're so focused in their different areas that, as businesses, maybe they get bigger in those lines of businesses, they're fine, right? Those, again, a benefit of being on the Lightning platform is we have some of the largest businesses in the world are running on the Lightning platform. Scalability is not an issue, right? In terms of transaction volume and memory and all that kind of stuff at all. We don't have to worry about that. But it's more around functionality, where maybe, we have a services business, and we have FinancialForce is doing a great job there. Maybe we're using accounting for that. Maybe we're not. And now we have an Internet of Things device where we need inventory and some of the other things that might come with it. Maybe we get a best of breed to handle that, like a fishbowl, or, we got to get an app that does everything. Same thing on the Rootstock side from a manufacturing standpoint. Really good technical manufacturing know-how at that firm and in the app. But again, maybe from a line of business perspective, we have to diversify. But that would be kind of the same with some of the other ERPs that are out there too at that sort of Tier 2 level as well. So I don't think it's any different than any other vendor on when you would sort of basically outscale the applications.
Right. Okay. Well, good. All right, Shawn. Well, thanks so much for always sharing such great information with me. I appreciate it, and explaining all this technical stuff to me that I have zero clue about. So thanks.
You're very, very welcome, and very well done as always. These are great
Thanks.
questions. Imagine you're responsible for making this decision. You come across some marketing material from one of these vendors, and by the way, your salesperson says, your lead salesperson says, you should do this because it's on the same platform as CRM, and you're like, that makes perfect sense. I should do it. And it does make sense to do it. We just want people to know, what they're looking at for sure.
That's right. So, all right. Well, thanks, Shawn. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Yep. So be on the lookout as we continue to add vendors to our overview offerings to advance your ERP knowledge and allow you to take advantage of over a century of combined ERP experience from our expert consultants here at EAG. Thank you again for joining us today.